thank you for joining me tonight, today, or whatever time you may be listening to this broadcast. Tonight marks a rather special night for me, as I am recording at night. Tonight is the culmination of so many different experiences that I've had since I started recording the Reiki 1 set. And it's actually been quite a doozy. I won't take the time to go into it because this is a special space that I want to hold tonight to prepare everyone for Reiki 1. So before I attune you, here's what you need to know. People from all walks of life are drawn to Reiki for many different reasons. Many people come to Reiki after a personal recommendation from a friend who's already attended a workshop or seen a YouTube video online or talked to another person who's attuned to Reiki or who's worked with a Reiki practitioner. It's really interesting how word of mouth works with Reiki. And that's because through the breath, as I live and breathe, Reiki must travel, Reiki must go, Reiki flows, always, within everything, all life. They notice positive changes in their friends and their family, and they decide to experience it for themselves. Suddenly, a whole new world opens up. And a large majority of people simply need healing and want to take that responsibility and control of their own treatment and well-being. When you realize that a whole bunch of people in the world really want to take it all in and let it all go. In with the good chi, out with the bad. But at the same time, we're blocked. We're inhibited. And that's because we've been taught by other people that they have the answers to the questions of where our hope lies, where our guidance lies. People will tell us that they have these answers to the questions you seek. That empty feeling inside has a definition in a book, has a definition to their psyche, has a definition to the collective that is everyone else but you. If you've ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind, I would highly suggest it. This is one of the situations that I'm speaking of in general. There are too many ways to express Reiki, let alone express who we are as people. So how you're led to Reiki and how you end up walking the path of Reiki are two completely separate topics. The same can be said of your experiences in life. You lead the same herd down the same pasture, and they'll still go two very separate ways. They'll still walk two separate directions. They'll still think two separate ways, even if it is just on a baseline instinctual nature. Because of that perception, it must be. Now, I'm not saying we can't see similar things. We can't try to see eye to eye as people. It's a commonality. We do it all the time. It's our empathy. It's how we adjust and how we work as people. But our individuality is also what enables us to work out our best healing possible, to empower ourselves in the best ways possible, because we understand ourselves. It may not be through expression of the words, it may not be through expression of the body or the mind or even the energy, but there's something there, and on some level, you understand what's going to work for you and what's not going to work for you when it's presented. That is what I'm getting at here. Many students begin as skeptics, just curious to find out more about Reiki. Just like those people who are willing to try out solutions of all different types. You go through your whole little list of solutions, and you more or less picked it up from Google, or picked it up from a friend, or you picked it up from something. And these solutions work out some of the time with some things. And when you put them all together, it kind of creates a nifty little toolkit for the thing that you're working on. The same thing works with our perceptions of life, our perceptions of energy, our perceptions of workings. But I'm speaking more specifically towards that because that level of skepticism that I mentioned earlier, it expands far beyond just like, okay, I totally don't understand your perspective, there's no way I can see your perspective, and I'm not going to listen to any words you have to say. There's a fine line between, I haven't experienced it yet, and I'm not willing to experience it. And the skeptics who walk into Reiki saying, I'm willing to experience it, they can leave as Reiki enthusiasts. Those are the ones who will more or less follow the path of Reiki wherever it takes them, because it becomes a part of their understanding, a part of their nature. When Reiki is understood as the breath, when Reiki is known to the senses, it becomes a part of who we are. And known to ourselves, known to our spirits, Reiki can continue to flourish and grow in many forms. The secret to getting the most out of Reiki is being open to that, being open to Reiki, being open to the many possibilities of Reiki, instead of being negative or boxing yourself up. And I don't like to use that term too much, but boxing yourself up into a place where you don't feel like you can do these things, or you don't feel like you're able to work. So you say that you can do 3 things, but if you hear 4, you doubt 4. You say that you can work out 6 solutions to a problem that someone presented to you, but what if I told you could work out 10? Would you doubt me? Would you be willing to see? These are the things that Reiki will ask you. These are the things that will help you develop as a healer. And I know I'm being a little mystique, and I know I may not be placing my words in the best ways possible, but that's simply because I want for different people to take it in different ways and leave it in different ways to register and be received in whatever way is most helpful for them. Leave your fears and your doubts behind and jump headfirst into a life-changing experience. Reiki draws you to itself. If you've ever attended a seminar or workshop, or if you've ever saw a video, or if you've ever sat in on somebody just like channeling Reiki, talking about Reiki, all of a sudden there's like a different shift in the air. Some little vibe comes out of nowhere and permeates the space. All of a sudden the people who don't want anything to do with Reiki either pay attention to you because they're going to decide whether or not they want to talk about it, or They perk up to pay attention because they do want to talk about it, or they're curious about it. When you talk about it more, you notice the people who want to listen staying and the people who don't want to listen leaving. When you sit there and you think about it more, if you don't understand Reiki, you begin to notice that things around you begin to shift more towards that direction as your reality shapes to reflect your perception, but also as Reiki guides you ever so slowly towards an understanding that will work for you. Trust in that omniscient wisdom. Remember, you will only need the first degree attunement once. So make it something you're not going to forget. It's up to you how you want this attunement to work for you. It's up to you if you don't want the attunement to work for you. Here in a few moments, I'm going to let you know when I begin, after I've given a little bit more information. And I'll be playing some music before I begin to intone the symbols and work with you all, to give you plenty of pause and space and time to think, to consider not only your path that's led up to here, but what you want to do with it. If you want to receive this attunement, if you are prepared to work on yourself in this way, because it is, to a degree, work on the self, to entrain your body, mind, and spirit, to adjust your vibration in body, mind, or spirit to a higher vibration, to a healing vibration, to a point and place where you are a conduit for Reiki, or more so, a conduit for a universal life force. And if you're not ready for that, that's totally okay. No one's going to judge you. You don't even have to listen to this recording if you're ready. But if you wish to continue, that is up to you and how you feel about this moment and the next few moments moving forward. If you wish to receive this attunement as part of a course, I of course offer it at the end of Reiki 1, 2, and 3 respectively. You're more than welcome to check that out at reikireverend.com, or you can contact me personally. That's at contact@reikireverend.com. Just be sure to leave Reiki 1 in the subject line so I know what we're talking about. I'd be more than happy to schedule a time to talk with you and perhaps teach you or work with you a little bit more prior to giving you that Reiki 1 attunement if you're just on the border and you're unsure. In any case, in order to work with and become a channel for Reiki, some say that you need to go through a first degree attunement or initiation ceremony. This is less than true. As I live and breathe, we all are, channeling Reiki. In that, we constantly work with Reiki. Understanding this, knowing this inherently, we do allow Reiki to flow through our bodies, minds, and spirits. When we naturally adjust to help others, we are allowing Reiki to flow from us to other people. The difference between those who are attuned and those who are not attuned is that you are connected to a lineage of people in mind, body, or spirit who have done it before, who've worked with Reiki, who are able to channel Reiki to what some would consider a reasonable degree, better than what you may be able to at the moment. And having that in your tool belt, so to speak, is a lot better when it comes to learning how to channel Reiki in a way that's going to best assist yourself and others. If you allow yourself to attune and align with Reiki naturally by your own will, my only word of advice is that you do seek instruction in some way, shape, or form in terms of how you choose to practice that, or in the very, very least, practice on yourself for I would say 2 weeks to a month. Give yourself that time to understand how it feels for you. And then start to practice slowly with others. If you wish to follow a traditional path, I would discourage you from working with others until you've worked with yourself for at least a month. If you wish to get some guidance in terms of how to do that, you're more than welcome to contact me again. Just feel free to go to reikireverend.com and follow the link to contact me. I'll help you out and send you a copy of this manual that I am reading from. I'll also be willing to go over with you the Reiki hand positions and help you understand how to better heal yourself and work with others by the same proxy. Those who are signed up for my courses, of course, you'll also get this along with the course and your coaching. Those people who are attuned from this broadcast and want to get coaching from me, you're always more than welcome to do so. My only suggestion is that you take some time to gain some personal insight from the attunement before contacting me, and that's only just to allow yourself to be at peace with it. That way, when we work together, we'll be able to work on the solutions right then and there, and help digest the flow of Reiki as it's worked through you and through your life a little bit. Sometimes that experience is better done after all that foreground knowledge is said and done, and you have that time, personal time to meditate. In any case, these attunements are normally done from this manual over the course of a 2-day workshop, but it can vary. Traditionally, you can have up to 4 attunements done when it comes to the first attunement. You can also have, to most practices, just the 1 attunement for Reiki 1. You can also end up with 2 attunements, which would be like more or less a psychic attunement or reception attunement, and then also end up going into your primary attunement to Reiki 1. Then there's all kinds of different variants depending on the practitioner and the Reiki master and what they understand of their own practice and how they choose to invite others with Reiki. The most important thing to note is that after a Reiki attunement, your flow and your ability to channel Reiki is improved, is increased. And that's again because you have that one spiritual connection to that ancestry. You also have a spiritual entrainment to Reiki's vibration. And that enables you to quickly access Reiki instead of having to focus on your natural alignment with Reiki, however that may be. In terms of the attunement procedure, traditional practices would suggest that, traditional practices in Japan would say that you must get the attunement done in person. Traditional practices, as it currently stands, it depends on who you talk to. But in-person attunements are considered more of an honored event than a distance attunement. And the reason being is because of the ability to acknowledge the transferal of energy between one another in the same space on multiple levels. There is nothing inherently wrong with a distance attunement, and if everyone is in alignment, everyone is inhabiting the same space, everyone is understanding and open to the flow of Reiki, then it can be an amazingly beautiful thing to receive a distance attunement, even a self-attunement. The rest is between you and Reiki. Before you get attuned to Reiki or any form of energy healing or psychic, work, very, very, very strong suggestion: avoid any form of alcohol or mind-altering substance. Just clean yourself out, however long that may take. 24 to 48 hours is best. However, understanding certain constraints and medical conditions, it's really just up to you and how you feel you are normally. If normal you is working in a certain way, and that way isn't naturally working against your health, like drinking daily, something like that, then by all means, if the doctor ordered it and you need it for your own health and safety, no one is ever asking you to stop doing that for the attunement. If you are finding yourself in a place where the attunement would serve a strong purpose in your life, no matter how you're feeling right now, then you're more than welcome to continue on with this and attend the attunement. My strongest suggestion and boundary when it comes to this attunement is that anyone who seeks this attunement under a form of mind-altering substance, who has not given thought or understanding to the full implications of Reiki on themselves, on their friends, family, and on more or less their life, I would highly suggest just taking the time to meditate on all those things, perhaps listening to the other two recordings before attending this space that I'm going to hold here soon. Also, any heavy foods that could really just bog you down, make you feel tired, really heavy processed foods. Also, if you can avoid those, it's always best to do so. Canned goods, always best to do so. If you can eat lightly and naturally from the earth and something that's not going to make you feel heavy, but just calm and alert. And that is the two big takeaways from everything I just said in the past 5 minutes. If you're clean, calm, and alert, you're more than in working order to continue with this attunement. Excuse me. Other things you may want to do before receiving an attunement is to wake up earlier than normal on the day of your attunement or the day you choose to have the attunement, to give you plenty of time to meditate and prepare yourself for the day ahead. That way you're not rushed or stressed unnecessarily. Any background energy you place before the attunement can inhibit the energy you receive during the attunement. If you can take a walk or a jog to kind of energize your system and just work some of that energy out, grounding, works really well. Avoid tea or coffee, stimulants, things that can kind of leave you less than grounded or feeling less than grounded. Eating fruit, like I said earlier, mentally preparing yourself with a short meditation or just a pause of breath can work wonders, especially if you're able to visualize and see yourself a few minutes from now. Understand where you could be and feel that form, feel that person in your mind's eye shaping itself. See where they are, how they're feeling. Ask them how they would like to move on in life. And as you take a few moments to reflect on things such as this, ponder where you are now, where you've been, where this journey in Reiki has taken you. Remember, you are here at the perfect time, no matter what. As long as you are open in mind, body, and spirit to receive Reiki on all levels, you'll get exactly what you put in. So, what happens during the attunement? A lot of people wonder why it's so hush-hush and why some masters, I say some now because some more than certain times have changed in some degrees, why some masters will keep it discreet, their hand movements, positionings, the symbols they use, the chants they use, and this is all to help preserve the sacred nature of the rite. I could say it personally from my own practice. I would quicker let my students go off and Google out Reiki symbols at Reiki 1 than I would suggest my students to seriously consider looking up attunement methods and techniques at Reiki 1. And that's just to protect themselves from anything that could harm them, namely facets of the ego. And it may not happen directly, and it may not happen through them, but keeping information like that sacred in any way possible can help preserve the integrity of Reiki moving forward. That being said, the recipients generally ask to keep their eyes closed while the Reiki master passes over them and enables the channel of Reiki to flow through them using Reiki symbols and mantras. Dr. Hayashi described it to Madame Takata very beautifully when he said, "The universal life force is so big we can't measure it, so deep we can't fathom it. Therefore in Japanese we call it Reiki. It is comparable to a radio station, broadcasting waves everywhere. There are no wires connecting the radio station in with your home, yet when you turn on the receiver and tune into your radio, the waves from the station are coming in. Likewise, the principles of Reiki are the same way. Energy is everywhere. It travels through space without wires. Once you have connected to this energy, it flows automatically, forever. It is a universal and immeasurable energy, and its power is unlimited." When you receive your first attunement, you may begin to feel the flow of Reiki through your hands, but this can really just happen anywhere the flow of ki is dominant in your body. So some people feel the flow of ki mostly in their feet, especially when they're just like free feet flowing, walking on Gaia. Other people, more mental, they may experience a state of euphoria or a heightened sense of awareness. The most important thing to note is how you understand the experience for yourself and how other people understand your experience can differ. So sharing it with other people may be something you might decide against right away. Writing it down and putting it somewhere secret might actually be a good idea before you share it with others. This is to help keep both your growth protected as well as the integrity of your work protected. Sometimes when we talk about things that have happened to ourselves with others, we may twist the story ever so slightly in our head the second time we talk about it because our friends didn't like the story so much. And when we hear it enough times, we don't remember what went wrong in the story what was originally the truth. And sometimes the little details can mean a lot. There is a healing process after your Reiki attunement. This process will take up to 21 days as the flow of Reiki meets with your 7 chakras 3 times and more or less locks in the entrainment to Reiki and enables you to work with Reiki by willing it. When we think about working with Reiki naturally, it can come to us, but it comes to us more like sometimes water from a well, from a semi-dry well or a pump well. There you go, a pump well. You still have to crank it no matter what. But when you're attuned to Reiki, it can come on much like a faucet. And like I said, this process takes about 21 days before Reiki is fully into your chakras and you have been entrained to the vibration enough so that you're essentially as high vibing as you're going to be. You may not be aware, depending on how physically fit or healthy you are, but this process can also cleanse you of a number of different toxins in the body in a number of different ways. Drinking water and maintaining a healthy diet, or in the very least attempting a healthier diet, can work out a lot better than allowing yourself to fall into a few or more of the same issues or shortcomings that may have caused you to begin the path of Reiki. This isn't to, speak against anyone who makes personal choices when it comes to food and, food and nourishment. We're all going through times where that can't be a strong thought. There always has to be that, leverage of possibility, and it's not for the worst of where, but it's always to make sure that there's a tomorrow. In any case, your body is preparing you for healing during this cleansing process. When the toxins are out of your system, your body can work at its optimal level for healing. Your whole system will be readjusted and rebalanced. You may experience symptoms of physical cleansing and detoxification during this time, such as runny nose, headaches, or maybe even a loose stool. There is no need to be alarmed. The body is simply flushing out toxins. It is a good idea during this time to spend more opportunities resting instead of working. If you get an idea, I would suggest writing it down, but I wouldn't suggest working on it. That's just to give your mind and your body enough time to relax and find peace. If you do have any intentions whatsoever of working with people after your Reiki 1 attunement, it would be in their best interest and your best interest for you to rest up and wait it out until this is all said and done. And the Reiki has worked its way to ground within your system. You may notice a difference one day and understand what I mean by this, but there's kind of like a drying feeling, like a paint drying on the wall when it's finally fully dry and just whoosh. I don't know. In any case, there's no need to be alarmed if your body does flush out toxins during this time. Make sure you rest. Use the time for self-healing and reflection. If you do experience any aches or pains, just go ahead and take the opportunity to practice. Practice some self-healing. Lay your hands on those places and just think Reiki on, or I allow for Reiki to flow. Or even just think about turning on a faucet in your arm and just letting Reiki just kind of pour out your hand. There's all kinds of ways you can visualize or work in the process of initiating the flow of Reiki. And in fact, the more personal and creative you are, the better the flow of Reiki can initiate and work out. Reiki's wisdom will do whatever is needed to release you from your fears and barriers that are preventing you from living a healthier and happy life. If you find yourself getting emotional and wanting to cry, scream, or shout during this 21-day period, you are more than encouraged to let it out in some healthy way. The old saying, better out than in, is so true and very therapeutic for your well-being. Release the ties that bind you to your old habits and lifestyle. Reiki can be a rebirth, and in many ways it is. You can cleanse your body, mind, and spirit again and again and again just by trusting in the healing power of Reiki. Some reactions may be unpleasant, but by accepting them for what they are as a part of your healing process and life's journey, and not attaching a great deal of importance to them or allowing for ego to flourish in these moments and be overprotective, they do soon pass. You may also find yourself dealing with certain issues in your dreams. It can be very helpful to keep a record of any of these dreams in a journal. Even if it's something as small as just writing down what you see or experience, any small note can help make a larger picture down in the long run. These attunements switch on an extra surge of power, which fuels all life. The more you use Reiki, the stronger it becomes. The more you entrain to its vibration and its way of working. Establish the habit of giving yourself Reiki before you fall asleep at night and when you wake up in the morning. Remember, once you have been attuned to the universal life force, you can begin channeling the healing energy of Reiki to yourself or others. Reiki is never sent. It's always drawn through the channel. One of the major differences between Reiki and magnetic or spiritual healing is that energy is drawn through the channel by the recipient as opposed to being directly drawn from the healer, like willed healing or magic healing in some cases. On the contrary, this way doesn't ever drain the practitioner or use up any of their personal power. Being an intuitive channel for Reiki allows you to naturally take in what's needed for the healing and channel it through your body to the recipient, through their body, and that's it. When you involve personal energy, or even more specifically, when you invoke your own ideas into the results, when you begin to do less to separate from the results of the working in Reiki, that's when you begin to pick up other people's personal energies, their baggages, especially if you don't understand especially if you don't understand how all that's working out and how to protect yourself using methods such as shielding to enact healing like that. We live in an extremely stressful and hectic world, which can influence our total being. Reiki helps control how our mind, body, and spirit responds to both internal and external factors. If you apply it regularly, Reiki will reduce the extreme highs and lows of your life and gradually lead to a more balanced experience. Have you ever wondered how many ways there are to use Reiki? After your attunement, or even during, Try thinking about some of these ways to work with Reiki. You can use Reiki on yourself, other people, young children, prenatal babies. You can use Reiki to channel healing towards a better outcome for an accident or an emergency. You can channel Reiki to your animals, birds, your fish, your plants, your trees, your seeds, that they may populate and grow well, your crystals, that they may be cleansed, purified, and enact healing themselves, food, drinks. You can channel Reiki to your work to make the environment more peaceful and happy. You can channel Reiki to your contracts to help them work out and be well arranged, good communication. You can channel Reiki to your projects so that they can go well. Your letters, that they may be orchestrated well. Documents. You can channel Reiki to your car, that it runs well. You can channel Reiki for protection. You can channel Reiki to travel wherever you want to go. Reiki too does teach distance healing. You can channel Reiki to your home, drinking water, bath water. You can even channel Reiki to your shower water. Reiki has a limitless supply of uses and utilities. The only thing that could ever limit Reiki would be the mind and the way that someone would be channeling or working with it. Stay tuned for my next episode. I will be attuning you to Reiki 1. Love light. Please stay with me as I end in Reiki. Seiheki Onshaze Sho